All right. We are live. Wonderful. All right, awesome. So, gonna be honest, I got no idea what I'm doing today. It's been a long, hectic day for me today, and I almost forgot about the live stream. So, but I'm here. I figure we can do something real quick to have some fun, do something cool. And if anybody's got questions, I can try and answer them. Let's see here. What is all this? Ooh, that was loud. Lo siento. I'm sorry. I kind of like that though. Is this the Wagner tubas? Oh, 1 second. 1 second. I'm getting a phone call from my mechanic, so I'm going to mute myself real quick. All right, sorry about that. That was my mechanic. My car is getting the back brakes. The back brake wheels or whatever, cylinder wheels, need to be fixed. So I've been waiting for that phone call, and of course, Murphy's Law says that they're going to call the moment I start going live on the camera. Anywho, so we got a nice forward. I like that. What if we? Okay, I've got an idea now. All right, I know what I'm gonna do. Just to have some fun, I'm gonna take these horns, and I'm gonna just start doing some fun, cool. I'm gonna just do some fun sound effect stuff with it. So we've got some Valhalla room on here. Let's make this bigger. First, let's do some crazy reverb. We're gonna see if we can make a cool kind of. Let's see if we can do a cool. So we're gonna have to set the mix. Let's bring the decay down. No, let's do the decay up. Decay up. I like that. All right, let's record real quick. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're going to pop a small little. We're going to record this real quick. Or no, we're just going to bounce this as audio. Project. Render in place with current settings. Let's see how this sounds. Why did that not render? Let's see here. Let's try again. Project. Where is it? Audio MIDI. Render in mode. It's been a while since I've done this. Where is the rendering? Audio, MIDI. It's supposed to be render. Those things. Hey, Epic Fish. Welcome, house name. How's it going? I'm just having some fun at the moment. Having some render with current settings. See, why is Cubase not? See, that's good. But why didn't it not include? Yeah, so let's do bounce audio. How do I bounce the audio? Well, that didn't work either. I want to render it with the audio with the Valhalla. Render settings. Let's try that. I don't usually render my stuff. I've got a strong computer, so I usually just work with MIDI. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. This right here. Now, let's just flip this. Let's do audio, processes, reverse. So what we've got now, this is, I love playing with sound samples like this. Like just doing weird things to an audio sample. This is how I created a lot of the synths for one of my soundtracks a while back ago for a musical called Leo's Requiem. To create a lot of the really cool pads, I did two things. I took a church bell, took the audio, and to create risers, I did this kind of effect where you added some reverb, you bounced the audio, and then you reversed it. So you hear the reverb first. So yeah, you have like that opposite. So let's unmute this. And so this is the original. And that's just the reverb. So when you reverse it, you come from nothing. Now let's see what happens. What other cool things can we do? Let's see it. Audio processes. Here we go. Let's do pitch shift. Let's drop it an octave. Ooh, I like that. Super soft. I like that. All right, we're going to do that. We're creating some cool stuff now. Hey, 23, welcome. Epic Fish, hey, Tabletop Moses, do you remember Wednesday's stream for channel members? Yes, I do. I remember you had a question. You had a challenge for me. What was the challenge? Because I'm just, at this moment, I'm just screwing around, having a little bit of fun, making weird noises. I'm taking this French horn sample right here. This is all this is right here, by the way. I've taken this one note. I applied, so actually let's turn this off, actually. I took this one note. A C above middle C. I added a little bit of reverb. Not a little bit, I added some massive reverb. Then I bounced the audio. I took the audio, I bounced it so that it was just an audio file, and I flipped it in reverse so that we heard the end of the reverb come in first, just reversed it. And then I pitch shifted an octave lower. So now here's what we have. This low kind of rumbling, slow build kind of drone. I like that a lot. So what happens if we then add a bit of reverb onto this? Add reverb to the reverb. Let's add another cathedral, same one. This one we'll do a little bit less. We'll do still 100%. No, we'll do 75. So it's still an overwhelmingly wet sound. ASD, welcome for stopping by. I appreciate it. Ooh, Epic Fish. My challenge was to make a polyrhythmic texture with a polyrhythmic meter. That sounds fun. Let's do it. But first, I'm getting excited about this. So when I first started the stream, I said that it's been a long, stressful day. Been running all over the place, and I almost forgot about today's live stream. But I'm having fun now, which is good. That's the point of these live streams. Well, one of the many points. Let's see, can we do let's take this. Let's bounce this. Edit. Render in place. So we've got the new thing now. So this is ours. Let's create a sampler track. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this new audio file I've gotten. I'm going to drag it down here. I'm going to pitch shift this to C below. Now let's listen to it. I like that. There's something there. There's something there. Let's do this. Let's add a loop. Now let's get this a little longer, shall we? I'm not used to the loop mode. Is there a way to smooth out, to like cross? Let's do the cross. There we go, crossfade. There we go. There's still a little bit of that I want it to be a little more seamless. Let's try this. Let's get the start a little bit long. Let's not have too long of a start. Let's see if we can make this crossfade even longer. Smoother. There we go. Ooh, are there any effects we can add? Let's see here. What kind of effects can we edit? I'm having fun. All right. And all of this, this is kind of just me messing around. This is all cool stuff. Again, this is all started. That's all this is this little one. That's all it started as. Was a C an octave above middle C on Spitfire Studio Brass. Legato. What I did is I took that note. I added a bit of some strong reverb to that note. I exported that audio, reversed it, pitched it down, added a little bit more reverb, and then created a sampler without it to take those little horns and make this kind of cool, spacey idea. then it just loops. There's more I can do. There's more I can do with this. Let's add a chorus. A choruser. To our sampler track. Let's add chorus. Delay. No, where's distortion? Where would a choruser be in here? I'm not used to doing this. Here we go. The mix is good. Let's increase the width just a little bit. Let's make the rate a little bit faster. It's a bit much. Let's bring the width back down. Let's bring the rate back down a bit. Let's make it more sine wave instead of saw. Okay, there's some cool stuff I'm doing. But anyways, I've spent too much time doing this. All right, let's start being useful. All right. All right, yeah. So Epic Fish, that's right. You had the challenge to create a polyrhythmic idea using polyrhythms, like a polyrhythmic texture using polyrhythms. Let's do strings for this one. Individual patches. Strings, short, spiccato. All right, so here we go. N23, I just got Cubasis, the mobile version of Cubase, and a pair of Bluetooth headphones. It's going to be a game changer because now I can compose while traveling as well as catch these live streams again. That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know a lot about Cubasis. Let me know how that goes. Let me know how it turns out. So we got short strings. Let's do short strings. Oops, wrong tool. So the idea of polyrhythmic texture. Just for a little minor, so everybody knows what we're doing. Polyrhythmic texture is a lot like counterpoint, but instead of layering different melodies, you use different ostinati, like short, repetitive rhythmic ideas. All right, and then a polyrhythm, which can have a couple different definitions, but the one we're working with today. What? Oh, I must have hit the space bar by accident. The definition we're working with today is the idea of using multiple rhythms, each one emphasizing a different interpretation of the pulse. All right, so simple meter, compound meter, and odd meter. So that's gonna be simple enough. Simple meter divides the beats into two. Compound works with pulses of 3, and odd meter uses a combination of both. So this will be easy enough. All right, let's create a simple little idea. Let's do velocity. We'll start off with a very simple, super simple. Actually, let's bring everybody down. Super simple idea as our base, since we're going to get a little more complex. Dun, 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 dun. We'll bring these up a little bit too. In fact, let's just do one at a time. Let's do this and this come up. So here we've got our basic idea. And then we will repeat this whole thing. We'll double it in octaves. And we will simplify this one so that rather than eighth notes, the lower one is just moving with quarter notes. And we have our first rhythmic idea, which is in simple meter, emphasizing patterns of 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Simple enough, right? Let's add a little bit of randomness, shorten them a little bit, and we'll have a little more of a realistic. So now let's come up with our second idea, which will be in compound meter. All right, compound meter takes those beats and splits them into 3. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, it goes 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. You can think of it almost as like having triplets, a feel of triplets. All right, so we'll do... We'll split this up just a little bit. And then we will create, so A minor, C major, let's do F major. And then we'll do A minor again. And so now we need to create that's what we'll do. And then we've got that going. So let's do I'm gonna chop this one up. Let's get a little more of a swing to make this a little less boring. And then we can add, again, a little more randomness, shorten it a little bit. And so then we have our idea. Let's mute it first, listen to the original one on repeat, and we'll add the second layer. And then we'll chop this up a little bit. Now let's add, in fact, let's bring this up a little octave, a little more separation. Now let's flesh out another idea. So we've got our simple meter, which is based in 2s. We have our compound meter, which is based in 3s. Let's do an odd meter, which uses a combination of both. So we'll do eighth notes here. We'll do G. And then it was an F and an A. So we'll chop this up into eighth notes again. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to do 3, 3, 2. So if we mute this idea, we mute this idea, and we've got this simple little idea going 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, where I'm breaking up the beats into smaller amounts. You can hear the sound. 2 and a 3 and 1 and a 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 2 and 3 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and. All right, so it's simple enough. Add a little more variation to this. shorten randomly. And then if we just expand this ever so subtly, we can take this idea, take everything, copy it, delete the first ones, pop this here. We'll add these layers one at a time to make them more palatable, more easy to follow. We'll unmute this, and we will listen to all of it as each layer gets added, one after the other. You'll hear how the different rhythmic identities create a little sense of chaos, but because everything still emphasizes, for the most part, the downbeats, and because we add them one at a time, it'll still create this nice little texture when combined. It's simple like that, right? Seems a little chaotic, but it works, all right? Because you were intentional with each one, you introduced one at a time, and because the ideas are short and they become very repetitive. Anytime you want your chaotic music to sound like it makes sense, those two things are very, very helpful. One, make the individual ideas very short, the patterns very repetitive, so you can instantly catch on to, oh, okay, I know what the pattern is here. And number two, introduce your ideas one at a time. It'll help create significantly more clarity. Excellent. Yes, thank you, Andrew. Yes, don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Thank you very much. That would be a fun bridge, right? All right, so gonna be honest with y'all. Pretty tired at the moment. Is there any other burning questions, any challenges, any ideas, of what we should spend this time doing? Otherwise, because like I said, today I didn't really come prepared. I'll summarize the cool little things we've done today. And if there are any other questions, any ideas, caffeine, I know, dude, 23, I got a bunch of caffeine right here. It's just been a long day. My car is in the shop, had to run a bunch of errands, did a bunch of stuff. I'm happy for the weekend, is what I'm saying. Swig of my caffeine. But I know I usually do these for like an hour. I don't want to call it too short. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to this little horn idea, this synth I was making. Maybe we can do something similar. All right. Ooh, I want to know what a piano sounds like without the attack. That's what we'll do. All right, we're going to mess around a little bit. What is this one? What is this one? All right, so I'm going to record. What happens if we make a sampler out of a piano without All right, so we're going to turn this into a synth. All right, a pad. Let's do this. Audio, edit, render in place. All right, so this, whoa. What is, okay, that's my bad. I rendered everything instead of just, no, apparently I rendered everything. Why are the strings being rendered? Edit, render in place, render settings. I might have had the strings highlighted. Maybe that's what happened. No, why are the strings being recorded? Stop that. I don't want the stereo out. I want contact one. I want this track. Render in place, render settings, complete signal pass. Let's just do that. That should do it. There we go. Let's mute everything except for this one. awesome. So here's what we're going to do. This is what I want to do. I want to create a sampler track. Take the sample down here. There we go. Let's create a loop. The start is going to be down here. Let's create loop continuous. Bring this over here. Let's do that. Let's create a very strong cross bridge. Let's just hear this. Muted. It's muted. I like that. Let's make it a little longer. Make the loop a little longer. I don't want to get the attack in. Let's get rid of the attack. I like that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a sustained piano with no attack, just continuously looped. I like that. There's something fun there. There's something cool you could do with that. What happens if I do that again, but this time I add a compressor to even out the sound a little bit. Let's do this, edit, render. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not like paying attention a lot. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. All right. I'm just kind of messing around. The neurodivergent brain is fixating on this idea. Let's reverse it. And now let's take this to the sampler track. We'll do a continuous loop. We'll say the start is here. Let's make a loop. Bring this loop over here. Make the start here. Create a very strong, oops. That is cool. I like that. Is there a way on this to change the amp envelope? All right, here we go. Drag in the amp, the attack. So it has an even longer, less piano-like quality. Ooh. Let's see here. All right, then let's have some fun with some reverb, shall we? Or let's do a little distortion. Let's do just a little bit of Bit Crusher. Just a teeny bit. I like that. Let's add a bit of reverb instead of doing Valhalla. Let's do Realm, because Realm is better suited for some weird little signs, effects. do the mix a little higher. Actually, let's go all the way up. I like that. All right, I'm just messing around at this one. I'm just having fun. All right, so, but as a cool little kind of comparison, this is what we started with. And this is where we ended up. Creating that cool little sound. I'm having fun. All right, but I've been ignoring you guys for too long. Okay, what are your questions? Let's see here. Hey, dude, no worries, Soften. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could make it. Yes, I do have time to shill my book. Let's do it. I've got a commercial, actually. All right, I have a commercial. Did y'all know that? I just made, okay, I'm actually kind of proud of this. I made a commercial to sell on Instagram. And this is the advertisement. All right, let me see this. Can you guys hear this? I'm gonna do an advertisement, all right? Commercial break, y'all. Oh, you can't hear it? Oh, that's stupid. Either way, it's an advertisement. It's really cool. It goes like all through all the kind of stuff. And the big takeaway for everybody is I'm doing a sale right now. 20% off your entire cart in my bookstore. So that includes my textbook, my emotions and music book, everything you cram into your cart. 20% off if you use coupon code Instagram, all caps. Because I am experimenting with Instagram ads as a way to kind of like expand the audience a little bit, right? So that's my advertisement. Soften, how's it going? I'm currently working on taking a second look at mixing and mastering on a friend's album. That is awesome. Cool. It's wonderful when you get to work with friends. I am very privileged that one of my primary collaborators, Darius, is a deep friend of mine. We've known each other for a while, and he's the playwright that I do most of my work with because I love his style of writing. So it's always fun getting to work with your friends. Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Soften. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Shows support. It shows the algorithm specifically that people are enjoying these streams, so it'll push it out to more people. Glad you're enjoying it. Now it's more pronounced. Excellent. Baba, what VST do you use when composing for orchestra? Very good question. I use several, depending on the style. My go-to piano is Grandeur. My primary instruments that I use for orchestra are Spitfire Studio Strings Professional, Studio Brass Professional, and Studio Winds Professional. And then I usually mix those with Musio and the Cinesamples options. If you are looking to get started, I would not just copy what I do. That's why I have so many libraries that I don't really use all that often. It's because when I was getting started off, I purchased all the libraries that I thought I'd need based off what YouTubers said and stuff. And a lot of them I just don't use because they don't match the sound I'm going for. So if you want a place to start, I would recommend Musio. Musio is freaking incredible. $10 a month and you get all of these instruments. They're professional standard, especially like the Cinesamples. These are professional standard libraries for like $10 a month. A ridiculous deal to the point where when they first came out with this, I legit thought they were a scam. I had people ask me if I thought it was real. I was saying on streams that I think it's a scam. I have since realized it's not a scam. This is amazing. They very much are aligned with my kind of approach and my mission to making music composition more widely available. And they're awesome people. So I would recommend that company to get started because it's super cheap and it gives you, most importantly, time to figure out what kind of music you want to write. Because when you start with a library and you start realizing what are the limitations of this library, so for example, the Cinesample series, maybe you are missing kind of like that fine control you want. You feel like there's a lot more detail work you want, in which case you might look for some libraries like Spitfire, which allow you a tremendous amount of detail work. Or maybe you decide that you really like the ensemble patches, so you decide to branch out and do like a Metropolis Arc style singing music. What have you. Yeah, I'd recommend start off cheap, take some time to get to know your own style, the things that you want to accomplish with your music, and then start looking for libraries that help get you the things that you feel you're missing. Yeah, Spitfire is expensive, but they do have free options as well. So I'd recommend Musio get started, write the music you want to write, and then after several months or even a couple years, if you start realizing, hey, my libraries can't do this and I want them to do that, then you can, like, for example, hey, I noticed that I'm missing a saxophone and I really want to write for saxophone. You can say, all right, I'm going to go look for saxophone library. Stuff like that. Once you have a specific reason to look for the expensive libraries, that's when you go. So for example, the specific reason why I chose these libraries is because I liked the, first off, Spitfire has incredibly detailed libraries, but specifically, I like working with individual sections, like violin 1, violin 2, violas, instead of doing just high strings, medium strings, low strings. I loved the idea that it had Divisi planned in, so that if I wanted to use Divisi, it had already recorded smaller and smaller sizes. And I liked that the studio strings, rather than the symphonic strings, is a dry library. It doesn't have a lot of natural reverb, so I can control the reverb a little bit more myself. If I had the money and I had my druthers, I'd get both the symphonic strings and studio strings, because sometimes I do just like the lush sound of the built-in reverb. But no, I'm very happy with the studio strings. Let's see here. Glad you like the commercial 23. So often, yes, yeah, I love. So I do most of my work is actually in theater. I've done a couple films, but most of my work has been done in theater. I like films, but the thing I love about theater is the fact that I often get brought in on the ground floor. So when I get to work on production, so like the dance troupe that I did recently, I worked with the choreographer and the director to write the music based on the story. And then the dance was designed for my music. For the musical I worked on, I got to work with the playwright, writing the lyrics and pitching the story. I was with him from the beginning of when the story was completely different all the way to the final product. And my music got to help shape that. I got to have input on the story itself. That happens sometimes if you have a really cool director or writer that you're working with on a film. But most of the time with films, you've got a fairly locked in piece. There's going to be changes, but as a composer, you don't often get the opportunity to actively shape the story as it's being written. So that's something I love about theater. Wait. Shipshun Kerr, 1 a.m. where you are. Man, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. How do I rate BBCS Symphony Orchestra? Andrew McLean, I unfortunately can't. I have no experience with BBCSO. I have people who swear by it. I've had students who love it, but personally, I've never used it, so I feel like it'd be irresponsible for me to cast judgment on it or give my opinion on it. Like I said, what I will recommend is anyone who's starting out, start out with Musio. Musio, 10 out of 10. I will die on the hill that Musio is by far the best deal out there for young composers. Bar none. The depth of this catalog. Like, look at this. Look at this. Voice. Nordic voices. South African voices. Great, like a pipe organ. Look up choir. Voxos. You've got even more options. Voxos, there's Voces 8 in here. Look up strings. You got the Cinestrings, Core, Pro, Runs, Solo, Artist Series, Apocalyptica, Dark Solos. You've got solo packages like a famous cellist, harp, Cine Symphony, Harlander Finger. You got all these libraries. $10 a month. And I guarantee you many of these libraries, like the Tina Guo library and the Cinestrings line, these are professional grade libraries. These are standard libraries that the pros work with. And yet, for whatever reason, Musio, like when I started, the Cinesample libraries, to buy the entire Cinesamples, to buy all of these libraries would have set me back thousands of dollars. I want to make it clear, contact. Thousands of dollars went into this. All right? I'm sure I got a lot of student deals and I didn't buy them all at once. I took advantage of a lot of like Black Friday deals as well. I had to buy them as cheap as I could, but still thousands of dollars. I think Metropolis Arc 1 and 2 together cost me like $500. The Spitfire Professional series, that easily cost me another $1,500. Grandeur, the complete package I have with this, hundreds of dollars to get the complete package that I got. With contact and everything. Not to mention all the synths I have. Thousands and thousands of dollars over the years that have gone into this. Musio beat out all of it for $10 a month. $300 if you want to buy the entire thing outright. They got everything. They are amazing libraries. They are high quality libraries. I don't know why they offer it so cheap, but I'm here for it. I love it. I think it's amazing because I do believe that we are on the brink. I genuinely believe that we are on the brink of a golden age of orchestral music. I believe we are on the verge of a new age where there has never been more orchestral music written by more people, and more high quality orchestration for that matter than ever. I think we are on that precipice of a golden age because it's never been so easy. Anytime you look at any field, when the playing field gets leveled and more people are able to join, the quality skyrockets. Yeah, a lot of lower quality stuff sneaks in too, but the quality of, when you have a pool of 100 people you're pulling from, the best of the best out of those 100 people is most likely not going to be as nearly as good as the best of the best out of a pool of 100,000. We see that I'm a huge strengthener, and one of my favorite sports is strongman. And watching the world record deadlift skyrocket in the past couple decades is a testament. As the sport gets more popular, as more people become aware of the sport and more people enter the sport, the wider the pool, the greater the talent. And I think because of companies like Museo, because of free software like this, because of the fact that anyone with a phone can now compose for the orchestra, I think we are on the verge of a new golden age. The last pillar to fall, because Museo makes it so free, because MuseScore, companies like MuseScore, let me pull this up, MuseScore, MuseScore, free notation software, free libraries of music you can study. Software is free, the sound quality is great, and they even have courses that will teach you how to write different style. These companies are amazing. I think the last pillar to fall before we can enter that golden era is education. It has never been easier to write for the orchestra. It's never been more accessible to compose for the orchestra. The last thing is education. We have all the resources, all of the opportunities. The last thing to fall is the knowledge. All right, I had to drop out of music school, because it was 10 grand a month. Who can afford that? I couldn't, so I dropped out. And I felt like my dream was falling about, or all about me because of it. I went into a deep depression because I thought my dreams were falling all about me just because I was poor. Just because I wasn't, well, not even poor, just because I wasn't uber rich. Which is why I'm so passionate about education. That's why I have a free academy trying to teach everything I know for free. That's why I have a blog where I break down as many lessons as I can. That's why I have a YouTube channel with over 300 tutorials uploaded. And I upload new shorts every single day. It's why I do these live streams every week, because I want to be part of that golden age. I want, like lots of people, I've had so many people tell me that they want to be famous composers. I think that'd be cool. For me, I would love to be a famous composer. I would love to have people remember my music after I'm dead. But more importantly for me, I think would be cooler, would be as if my name was tied to other great composers. If people to say that, yes, this great golden age of instrumental music came out, and one of the biggest influences was Tabletop Composer. Like, this was one of the resources that made the education available for everybody. That's what I would love in a perfect world. But in the meantime, I just enjoy sharing this stuff. And one way you all can be part of that and help support me in the work that I do is to help support with my bookshop. And again, huge sale going on right now. Coupon code Instagram to celebrate the fact that your boy made a commercial. I'm starting to get better at like actual business side of things. Instagram. This is the coupon code because I'm running an Instagram commercial for the channel to try and get it in front of more people. This coupon code will give you 20% off your entire cart. Everything on my bookshop that you toss in that cart, the entire thing will get 20% knocked off. So that's a great way you can get some access to some really cool resources, really cool information, especially my textbook. My textbook, I think, is the thing I'm most proud of. Breaks down my entire method, my entire process for writing in a sequential step-by-step process to teach you not only all the theory you need to know to compose for orchestra, but to start from knowing nothing. Like, this book was designed so that if you just woke up one day, it's like, it'd be cool to write music. I have zero experience with music, but I'd like to learn how. This book will teach you. Because that's what happened to me, all right? I was 22 years old, studying therapy and social work program, and then randomly, one day, I knew I was miserable studying social work. I knew I wanted to do something with music, but it had been years since I'd actually taken music seriously. And then I was listening to music as I was just cleaning my kitchen, and Joe Hisaishi's "The Girl Who Fell from the Sky" played on my phone, and it blew me away. I was like, this is transcendent. That is what I want to do. So I went from someone who had never written a piece of music in my life. I went from someone who struggles to play piano. I went from someone who used to be a talented trumpet player but hadn't played in 4 years. And now, I think like not even a decade later, like I think like 6-7 years later, I'm a professional composer. I've taught students on 6 different continents. I've been a tutor for both Berkeley and Juilliard. I have been hired for curriculum design for schools and businesses to design classes for their teachers to teach. And all of it offered in this book. All right. This is what I'm proudest of. So check it out. 20% off with coupon code Instagram. There we go. That's my sales pitch 23. You happy? All right. Let's see. Soften, do I use subscriptions? For what? Like, do I have subscriptions? I have a subscription on my website where you can pay, I think it's like 180 a month, and you get 2 lessons every single month with me. So, of course, sort of like so I guess it's not necessarily a subscription. It's more just like paying for lessons. But, yeah. So, let's see here. Any other comments? One more important question from Baba. How do you escape watching tutorials and compose every day? I can do streaks. That's tricky. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't compose every single day. I wish I did. I have at different points. But it's tricky. Because again, I am a one-man band here. I run my entire business. I teach private lessons. I write music for commission. I write my books. I make my videos. So I do not compose every single day. And unfortunately, I don't know many composers who do compose every single day. Because the fact of the matter is most musicians need to wear multiple hats, especially when you're running your own business. That being said, I do try to compose at least a couple times every single week. I try to make that time deliberate. And the best way I can recommend is just put it in your calendar. You have to be deliberate. If you're based off how you feel, then it's not going to happen. But if you know every Monday, 4 p.m. for 30 minutes, I'm going to write music. So you sit down Monday, 4 p.m., an alarm goes off. Ooh, there we go. Then you set a timer for 30 minutes. You're not allowed to do anything else for those 30 minutes. It's a good way to build momentum. I'll usually start composing for much longer than 30 minutes, but that's how I'd recommend. It's just you have to be intentional. Another way is if you've got the budget, it can be helpful to have an accountability person. So like if you hire a teacher, I do private lessons, but there are plenty of other people who do private lessons too. Find someone who has homework assignments. Homework assignments help because they give you that deadline, that outer authority. All right, that's one of the cool things about having a teacher is you have someone else who has a sense of like authority in your life because you're paying them for lessons. And so when they tell you, write this and get it to me by then, that deadline becomes important. Especially when you find like work or like composing for projects, that also helps too. Deadlines always help. So that's what I would recommend. Let's see, Soften. Well, that's amazing. Thank you. I think you're talking about Museo. It'd be really cool to see the choreography get based on a piece I wrote. Right? It was really fun. That was one of my, actually, that piece, that choreography group, that dance troupe I composed for, I do think that was my favorite piece I've ever written. The piece titled Splish. On my Instagram page, you can find the main theme called Jesse's Theme. I've played it on a bunch of different live streams before, so I won't play it here. But I do think, I don't really listen to a lot of my own music, but it's a tie. It's a tie between that one, between Splish and the Agnus Dei that I composed for Leo Jacquem. Those two, I think, are my favorite pieces I've ever written. They are almost tolerable to listen to. I don't like listening to my own music. May I love it? Let's see. Cinesamples sounds like a tasty cinnamon dessert. Oh, now you got me. I've got a bad sweet tooth. All right, so some of you know that I'm on a bit of a weight loss journey because I'm a huge like fitness nerd. I was a strength coach and a trainer full-time before I went full-time with music. And so for the longest time, my focus was just how big and strong can I get? So at my heaviest, I weighed 270 pounds. What would that? That'd be like 120 kilos around there. So I was a big dude, but I was strong as hell. I could deadlift 500 pounds for sets of 3. I could press 245 pounds overhead, lockout. I loved it, but I got out of breath tying my shoes. So in the past year or two or so, I've lost about 85 pounds. I'm going to keep going for a little bit longer. But my biggest weakness is the sweet tooth. I love my sweets. This morning I had 2 donuts. I went for a walk with my roommate. We stopped by like a Quality Dairy, which is like a local chain of like convenience stores. I got a bunch of donuts. I love donuts. Tomorrow I'm getting more. Yesterday I had cheesecake. Oh man, now I'm starting making it. It is planned in. I do take care of it. I make sure it's all planned. Because like I said, I do love the fitness stuff. Part of me misses coaching. Part of me misses being a personal trainer and helping people reach their goals. But I love music so much. I've been toying with the idea of starting just a second like Instagram page, like just to nerd out over fitness stuff. It wouldn't be anything I'd try to make big, but just be kind of fun, just to have a creative outlet that wasn't tied to work. Let's see here, but I feel like the fitness scene is just so oversaturated. Often, yeah, it's like $300 outright to own the entire Museo catalog. The caveat being that you don't get updates. So, for example, I really want these libraries. It's muted. Like, I want these libraries, South African choirs. I want this library so bad. But it was added September 5th. And I had purchased my library beforehand, so I don't get those updates. I can pay to have them added. I can go there. But then the libraries individually are more expensive. So yeah, it's like $60 to add that library. But it's a massive library. So that's the advantage of like the prescription of like $10 a month is like every time there's an update, you just automatically get access to that. Yep. Yeah, Cinesamples is amazing. I've had a very eclectic past. Yes, I've got a lot of... Listen, my past has not always been glamorous, all right? There was like a solid 3 months of my life where I slept on a yoga mat. I've had like a solid year of my life where I sold plasma twice a week just to make ends meet. And I have gone hungry. I have gone hungry for my craft. I've gone hungry for my passion for music, where I just didn't know where my next meal was going to come from. So it's not been a glamorous life, but I have lived a lot. I've experienced a lot of things. I've been able to enjoy all of my passions for like fitness, for music. And I'm fortunate a lot of those days are in the past. But I would not change a thing. I would not change a thing that I have experienced because I am grateful for the life I have. I am grateful to the people in my life, for the life I get to live, for the knowledge and experiences I've had. And I feel like it makes me a more empathetic person, having experienced different things. Yep. So I would recommend if you want those libraries, just get the Museo. Get the Museo. Museo, get the $10 a month subscription. It's worth it. Because then you get access to everything. Let's see handbells. Do I have access to it? Let's see it. Yeah, I do. See, easy as that. I've never used these libraries, but I open Museo, I say like, oh yeah, I have access. I'm downloading them right now. And once they're loaded, we can see how they sound. All right, and then we are almost at the 1 hour mark. So if there are any questions, don't forget to like. Don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. Again, if you'd like to show some support, make sure to purchase my books. Everything is 20% off your entire cart using coupon code Instagram because I'm having an Instagram sale. Ooh. And then you can change the release. You can shorten it. The release curve, which is the shape of the volume on your release. You can hear it like, so it still rings a little bit. It's cool. And that's the really cool thing. Oops. Is you have different mics. That's a really cool thing with Museo, is they recently updated different mics, which is just insane. Again, the quality and detail on these is stupendous. It's an amazing library. All right. Excellent. All right, any last questions before we call it a day, my friends? We'll wait to hear what the different libraries sound like. And I'll explain each of these mic positions as well, what they mean and why they're useful. All right, so there we go, waiting for the close. So a close mic, as the name suggests, it's recorded right up by the instrument. The mic is super close. It doesn't catch as much of the room. Usually the close mic, you only want a little bit of it. Just enough to be heard. Because if you imagine if you're doing a whole mix of an entire orchestra, you're not going to hear every instrument right up. You're not going to hear all that detail as if you're sitting right in front of every single instrument. It's just not going to happen. But a little bit of detail for like a soloist is fantastic. Room is a mic, usually like a tree mic, above about like 6-7 feet above the head of, so about like 2 meters above the head of the conductor. And it catches not just a little less detail, but more of the room. So let's listen to the difference. You can hear that detail. It's much easier with headphones on. Less sharp. And then the surround is usually mics in the far corners of the room, where they're getting even less detail, but much more of the room. When I say the room, I mean the sound that the room has an impact, how the room impacts the sound. The sound waves from the instrument bounce all over the place before they hit the mic. So it's a bit of like a reverb. So you can think of each of these as being how close you are. So we'll go one at a time. Room next. And then close mic. So it's a very subtle effect. But if I were to do something for like my own mix, I'd say, all right, let's get a little bit of the close, mostly room, and even a teeny bit of the surround. And you can mess around and create this exact sound you want. Again, I gotta work on tutorials for mixing. That's something I haven't really covered on my channel. I would like to put together an entire free class on mixing for the Academy, but building a free class takes a lot of time. I have to dedicate time to designing the curriculum, writing all the lessons, coming up with the examples, recording the videos, editing the videos, putting it all up, and then putting it all on my website and put it on YouTube, etc. So it takes a lot of time. And if it's a free class, that's time I'm not getting paid for. And yet my bills are still being demanded of me every month. So the amount, whether or not I'm able to spend that much time aside depends on like how well I'm doing with my sales and stuff. So if you want to support me, again, website, 20% off, coupon code Instagram, all caps, to get 20% off your entire cart. Any last questions? All right, excellent. We're all good. Sufin, thanks for streaming, dude. My brother isn't even a co-proposer, and I showed him you reacting to my piece, and he was impressed by your personality and thought you seemed like a great guy. You're awesome. Thank you. That makes me really happy. I'm glad people like me. All right. I love knowing I'm having a good positive impact. So thank you very much. It's very helpful. I mean, it's nice. All right. It's nice to know that you're appreciated. So thank you. 23. See you next week, and I have a piece started for the next end of the month stream, so hopefully it will be ready for that. It was another great Detroit time. I'm glad I could be here. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate you. I'm looking forward to hearing your music, 23. I will see you all next week. All right, bye-bye.